Ukuba ibiyintsomi bendikuza kuthi chos ukwenzele lingakhuli imbono. Kodwa eli libali elibonakalisa utshintsho ebomini bomntu nokulahlekelwa ngumkhondo indlela sokucinga uyayazi. Usotheko kudala wazithanda izinto. Sele eliqaba ikhetshemiya yakhe neentambo zakhe wayezinxiba ngendlela ecela yena. Uhambo lwakhe lukhatshwa yingombo yokuzimisela. Isithukuthezi wayengenaso ukuba kaloku amasimi ayesoloko elinde ukusetyenzwa. Noomama belali babesoloko belinde ingxelo zeziganeko zemini.
Deeper, guys. Take a deeper. Take a deeper. Look, man, it's so fun again. Who knows what it is? You are. Sound inside of themselves that lets them know that they have been for this path. And so here we are talking about Amathwasa or Siba. And who are Amathwasa or Siba? They are those who are mighty in the pen, because Siba is the feather. So Amathwasa or Siba are the writers, and our early African writers in publications such as Isipijing, Samaxhosa, and so forth, consider themselves Amathwasa or Siba. uvusa isizukulwane esizayo. More than they are of classical music. And they were eager to find out and discover it and stuff like that. And so for me, I wanted to tap into that, and I had a desire of doing something of the same for my own culture. But also mindful of where I'm at, where I am now. That hey, I am this Zulu-speaking person who plays the Baroque cello. I would say to summarize in Nakul, then what I will add there is myth-making. That's right. Because Nati, as you bring back these myths, and I'm not so concerned about the past. I'm not that person who's about really massive and about the time. No. I'm very much about the present. And I'm a futurist, if they were the Afro-future. So I'm more about, I want to see people teleporting, I want to see people going into space, that kind of stuff, you know. And so, I'm joking. But what I'm saying is that I think the present idea of myth-making and using the tools that we have in our hands, but to convey African stories. And not African stories as in Wakanda, no. But something else, Yabona. I guess I can't remember when I was going initially, Yabona. And so it's very strange that even now as a musician, music is not Tusa. But Tusa, it's not what I grew up in, I'm not the person. But at the same time, the intuition and the logic of the music is so different from how we are taught to conceive music today.
Lustful sort of like culture they're preaching, yeah. They're not actually like opening our minds to what's really going around us. They're not actually unveiling, you know, this unsocial, you know, all these apostrophes which are actually impacting us as a youth, you know, yeah.
And I think if I can add to what they're saying,
yeah.
For me the challenge is also the technology of language, because that's the part we also don't give ourselves enough time to pay attention to the technologies of language. For a new instance, a new situation, you need to make the language work. So, and it doesn't mean the language is static, but you need to work on it. And as you work on the language, it means you're comparing things that have come before and using a new situation to create. If I can give an example, like in one of my tracks, where it's a long epic piece where I'm imagining having settled now into this new planet out of space. And Magyabanda, Simbatiswe, and then at the same time, then I say, Mastiga Lapo, Sikotami, Simpengu, and Mastiga Hotel, like Kalera Bakon. As we go into the space, this outer space, now just speaking, Mastiga will put about this Abacha, and it's not speaking to Boyana. When it's got time, it's Simpengu, and it's really hard. So you get what I mean? When we say that making the language work for new situations. Yeah, but when that is managed, our language is only capable of speaking of a tribal setting, and which is not true. You know, our languages are not fossilized. They move. They move. And it's about the skill of our languages as well is in the observation. In the observation. We do into what you end up. But the grannies in our church, who were the Mariana woman with my granny when I used to play for them, you know, how they used to discover, hey, you know, but we know exactly what that means, you know. So yeah. Sorry, more comments.
I asked a question. Just to add on to that, we know the art movements like impressions and everything else. Now it depends to an individual. What purpose, what do you define as your purpose of art, of making art? Are you making art for money? So as what you're saying now, if you're asking somebody, if you're asking me, I might have a different view to what you're saying now, like my music, you're expecting my music or my art to have a socio-political commentary, when I know that my purpose of art is making money out of it, is commercializing it and having returns out of it. You understand? There are those purposes of art, though it depends on an individual, which part do they choose as a purpose of art in what they're doing. What I was going to ask you, I don't know if you played before you took the academic route to music. If you played before, if it so happens that you played before, what has the academic route done in terms of contributing to your music and to your whole view of the discipline?
That's a good question. Because I often ask myself, what would I have done if I had not gone that route? But it's given me a certain kind of facility for me to play my art and be as one of my art. I really have to separate myself from this. And I really can't wear that hat because my art is not what is validated in academics. So I'm saying that for me it's more about that, and I'm not concerned about whether in the sense that people think, hey, it's an elite thing, so therefore, no, but I've done it, and I can close that book and do it now as well. Yeah. And I'm connecting with you as a human being. I have to connect with you there. I can't connect with you with the CV.
The cultural parameters, right? To Zulu, to Zulu. And then now you have to obviously define yourself in a Swedish setup or a French setup. But how do you then detach from the cultural element of obviously explaining something with your own obviously cultural experience, and at the same time expressing what you want to get across? For example, here you've been mentioning a bit of Xhosa culture pieces, right? And then now there's the element with the fact of in terms of the cultural experience, you come from a different setup. How do you then jump into a different in different shoes, you know, the person who's now explaining information or content to people who might have been more versed or more, like, you know, might have been more exposed because they've experienced that culture. How do you transition from this artist, right, to this artist in terms of the cultural constraints, if I can put it in there? Because at the end of the day, what you as a person know, what you have to explain, you know, in terms of the piece that you'll be presenting. There has to be some form of shift happening, and then in terms of how you think, in terms of how you articulate your own expressions or your own feelings or facts about the particular culture. Because now you mentioned that you eventually, hopefully, want to become a dual citizen in terms of France, right? So obviously the culture is completely different from what you are used to as far as South African, because in South Africa it's easy for you to move from this one to this one and not fear expressing yourself as a Muntu who's within the South African context. So how do you?
I would say that artistic child is a spoiled brat. And nurturing an artistic child sometimes is more than nurturing your country, you know. And sometimes one that in what we think is that, hey, being in this place, in this setting, that will help nurture that. And sometimes it's not that. It's actually just being somewhere where you are fairly unimportant and where you can just get on and do your thing.
I started thinking about myself because when I write, every time I have to wait and listen until something comes. And then if that something comes, it will come, and I still have to wait again for something else to come on top of that. So in one of her songs, you sang about thinking, and I believe it also it's what drives me to write. And there's a certain direction that I just took now, and I don't know how. And it's the actual way that we deliver the songs here. So I just want to know the process of writing, and actually how the academic.
Remember, this is an important one.
Personally, I don't mind sacrificing my question for the song.
Okay, but I want to address this question first. I can do that, but I want to address your question first, brother, because that's an important. We don't talk about mechanics and technical aspects of art making. So this man, I saw him a few weeks ago. He was playing with his sheet music on his lap, and he was playing piano like this. So, but I think Tony says it's a combination. Toni Morrison says it's a combination of inspiration and technique. And you can't just live on the inspiration only. And it's the technique that allows you to frame things and allows you to then say, okay, cool, we are now producing a certain body of work. But I think the inspiration is important in terms of finding your own artistic voice. Because that's a lot of people that's what a lot of people struggle with today, is establishing your own artistic voice, your individual artistic voice that permeates through all your works. Or something like that. And so and that's what inspires and takes people to the next generation. I want to ask that you don't need anything back. You get the whole hear that you know that okay, we don't need anything just like this. You don't need introduction to Oliver Mtukutsi. You don't need Oliver Mtukutsi on Barajani. So all these people that is now, there are people who found the artistic voice, but sometimes it comes a long time. Mambusi came up with her own solo career in her 60s. Mambusi song, You don't think about that. But there's only instant fame and now. You are